What's going on, everybody? David here, back with another video. So I had a show all set up. I had different clips. I was going to show you guys some different clips of these politicians all saying the same thing. There's a talking point now. So you have the Republican politicians coming out saying, we don't want to give money to people who have not lost any money at all, haven't lost their job. So we don't want to give this extra $1,400. So people are now starting to receive their $600 stimulus checks, and what's on the table right now is an additional $1,400 to make that $2,000. And you hear all these politicians just coming out saying, we don't want to give people money. We don't want to give them money because they haven't lost anything. And all they're saying is, well, if some people haven't lost anything, we're not giving money to anyone. Additional money to anyone. Because if you think $600 will go far enough, it just won't. And they know that. They know $600 is nothing. It's not going to go anywhere. And some of these politicians didn't even want to do that. They didn't want to give the $600. Matter of fact, pretty much all of them didn't want to give the $600 because they were looking at a bill that did not have stimulus checks in it. And if it wasn't for people like Josh Hawley and Bernie Sanders, we wouldn't be looking at the $600 stimulus check anyway, because these politicians didn't want it. And now when you want to go a step further, bring it up to $2,000, now these same politicians are like, oh, this is just too much. $600 was too much for them, and now this $1,400 it's just ridiculous. How dare you give people their money back, give people their $2,000 back? These are the same politicians that will fight for corporations to get tax breaks. And that's what this is, a tax break. We're getting a tax credit that's advanced to us. That's all this is. But these politicians are looking at it like it's free money. We can't just give out money because if people aren't suffering, we can't give money to everyone because we have some people that are still doing okay. It is just ridiculous. It's like if I'm sitting at a dinner table, I'm getting ready to buy food and order a pizza. There's 5 of us sitting there. And I look at everyone, I say, well, you know what? We're just not going to eat today. I know some of you are hungry, but we're not going to eat today because how do I know that you're starving right now? How do I know you haven't had food all day? So because I don't know that, we're just not going to eat. That's how idiotic it sounds. They're saying because we can't target it, and I don't know why they can't target it. This is one of those situations where you've had 7 months to figure this out. And if you can't figure out a better plan to at least help the people who really need the help, then that's when you say, okay, we're going to have to bite the bullet here and give it to a larger group of people because we can't prove it. But how bad is that? How much does that hurt to give money to people even if they don't desperately need it? A lot of those people will still be spending the money. If they haven't suffered any losses in their job or anything like that as far as wages, they're still going to spend the money. A lot of them will. And that will still help stimulate the economy. So you have people who desperately need it. Yes, that money will go. They're going to spend that money right away. You have people who haven't lost any wages, so they're still doing okay. If they get extra money, they're still going to spend that money. And so when we're looking at this situation and you have these politicians saying, well, we just don't want to give out money because it's not going to be effective. The first one was effective. The CARES Act was effective. $1,200. People were spending that. But no, we can't. We can't spend that money. It's so crazy to me because when it comes to the people, that's the way they talk. These same politicians will talk about that when it comes to the people. We can't give them extra money. What about PPP? Did you hear any of these same politicians talking about this when it came to the PPP money in the CARES Act? We saw major corporations getting millions of dollars from PPP funding that did not need it. And the only reason they gave it back is because they were embarrassed that they were exposed. You still have companies right now that received millions of dollars that were doing fine. And they just haven't been exposed, so they didn't give the money back. But you didn't see these politicians, and you don't see these politicians now coming out and saying that. They're not saying anything about these corporations getting millions and millions of dollars. But when it comes to the people getting a $2,000 check, all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, we can't do this. They might not need the money. And look at these different people that are getting the money. You might say, okay, well, you haven't lost any wages, so why should we give you $2,000? A lot of stuff has gone on this year. Daycare. A lot of these people are working full-time jobs, and now their kids can't go to school. So now they have to pay extra money to have someone watch their kids. Or they have to stop working so they can watch their kids. That's extra money. That's money they didn't have to spend before because their kids were at school. There's situations where you have family members who have gotten gravely ill because of COVID-19. Now, guess what? They have medical bills that they have to pay that they wouldn't have had to pay if COVID wasn't here. We're in a situation now where we're ordering a lot of things in. So we're paying a little bit extra, delivery fees and shipping and all that. So just because you're making the same amount of money doesn't mean you're spending the same amount of money. Now, because of this situation, we're spending more. Wearing masks? I never thought I would see a day where I'm going out buying masks to wear. Yes, it might not be that much, but it is still a little bit more money that I'm spending that I wouldn't have normally spent. Hand sanitizer. For whatever reason, some people want to get toilet paper. But still, we're spending a lot of money that we would not normally spend. And you have politicians that are here saying, no, we can't give you any extra money. This is ridiculous. Jobless claim numbers just came out today. 787,000 people filed claims. It's not getting any better. I live in California right now, the epicenter of COVID-19. It's not getting any better. And we have politicians that are sitting on their hands and not wanting to do anything for the American people. Mind you, they will be voting today on a $740 billion military spending bill, overriding a veto that the president put out. They already voted on $1.4 trillion for the government spending for the year. You didn't hear them saying, oh, we don't have the money. Well, we don't know if this money is going to be going to the right places. You didn't hear them saying that. But when it comes to the American people, like, oh, yeah, you know what? We can't spend the money. It's crazy to me. And what's the craziest about this whole situation is you have Bernie Sanders. All Bernie Sanders is asking for is an up or down vote. Democracy. That's what he's asking for in the Senate. But Mitch McConnell won't even give him that. You know why Mitch McConnell won't give him that? Because Mitch McConnell knows that the bill will pass. This $2,000 stimulus check bill will pass if they do that up or down vote. That's why Mitch McConnell doesn't want to move forward. That is not democratic. Majority is not winning in that situation. You have one person who's holding it up for everybody. And you have people who are starving and struggling as a result of it because they're not getting additional help. Because that one person is choosing not to call this to the floor, not to practice democracy in a crisis. I don't know what else to say when it comes down to it. And like I said, I'll have another video on later on today. We're going to update the events today, but it's one of those situations. I'm not even going to show you the clips of these different politicians saying the same exact thing. They're saying the same exact things. And then when you ask them, well, why don't you just have an up or down vote? They don't answer that question. If you don't agree with it, vote no. If you agree with it, vote yes. Up or down vote. Majority wins. That's a democracy. They don't want to do that. Mitch McConnell doesn't want to call it to the floor to do that. You have politicians that do not want to move forward and have an up or down vote because they fear that it's going to pass. How crazy is that? They fear that giving the American people money is not something that they want to do. We can't afford it. $1.4 trillion for government spending, $740 billion for the defense spending. Mind you, yes, we need to have money for our defenses. I agree. But don't tell me in one sentence that you want to spend billions and trillions of dollars for the government spending and the military and not want to spend, let's just say 400, what do they say, 484 billion or 464 billion for the American people, but you're spending trillions elsewhere at the same time. We're not even talking about, okay, well, that was 6 months ago. Now we're in a different situation. We're talking about the same time. So it's just ridiculous. And I just wanted to come on. I know I was lengthy, but I wanted to at least put that out there. This is not acceptable. This is not how democracy should be run. Up or down vote. That's what needs to happen. That's all I wanted to talk about today. So stay tuned. We're going to follow this. We will have another video later on today just talking about the day's events because we do have some votes that will be happening. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.